Hello, are we good to go, Sam?
Good to go.
Good to go. So, welcome everybody that's joined us today. So thank you very much for joining us. This is one of a number of opportunities for you to ask us questions and provide feedback, as well as hear a few updates from us. So my name's Nicola Ebden. I'm the Interim Deputy Chief Executive at LHP. I'm responsible for governance and regulation, customer influence and equality, diversity and inclusion at LHP. Some of you may have attended a previous online meeting. If you haven't, don't worry. But in the past, we've held these quarterly. This is the third one that we've held. The last couple of times we met, we found that the technology didn't allow customers to interact with us directly. So this time round, we've decided to hold two in-person meetings as well as a virtual meeting. At the face-to-face meetings, we've had one in Grimsby and we've got one in Boston later this week. We also provided some of the time to just have a bit more of an informal chat with us. But the updates that we've given you and the opportunity to ask questions for us to answer them is exactly the same in all three meetings. So we're also testing a bit of a different format to this meeting in terms of the technology that we're using. So this means that you can ask us questions directly in the question and answer function throughout the meeting, rather than having to send them in advance. And we had hoped to set this meeting up so you can actually speak to us directly when asking questions. However, this has proved a bit technically too complex and it was likely to make it much harder for you to actually get into the meeting. So we're giving this version a go and we'd appreciate your feedback on this format, and we'll try and improve in the future. So the format for today, we'll start by providing some short updates on areas which customers who attended the last meeting asked questions on. So that's our repairs service and also our kind of property maintenance. And we promised last time that we would cover those this time. And we're going to talk through a number of the kind of areas of questions from last time and give you some of those answers. But the most amount of time that we've got today is to answer your questions. So please do put them in the chat. Don't feel like you've got to wait until the end of we've done the bit of preparation work that we've done. Please put them in the chat as the meeting progresses. If your question is a bit related to your personal circumstances, then the team that are looking at the questions will give you a bit of an update to say that either we'll come back to you after the meeting because of the personal nature of it, or see whether there's any general part of that question that can be asked, and then we'll go through. So I'm joined by a number of colleagues on the call today. Presenting to you next is going to be Jason Cannon, who's our Director of Repairs, and then following Jason's Charlotte Johnson, our Director of Property. So I'll ask them and actually other colleagues that may answer your questions later on in the meeting to just introduce themselves when they speak, so that I don't have to go through and do that before we start. So I'm going to hand over to Jason.
Good afternoon, everybody. As the update says there, my name is Jason Cannon. So I am the Director of Repairs. I joined LHP in April to do most work alongside kind of the repairs stabilisation programme and obviously ensuring that that service delivers to our customer requirements. So in terms of moving on the slides, I know there's some key questions that was raised previously which I'll feed through, and obviously any questions that come up in the chat I'll respond to those. So I think, as Nicola mentioned, we've took it in terms of kind of you said we did. So just for a bit of background, there is a lot of work going on in the repairs area at the moment. It is the key priority for the organisation, and you'll probably hear me reference a number of times the repairs stabilisation programme, and that's a holistic view of the service, looking at what it's doing well, what it's not doing well, and how we improve it to make sure we kind of meet our customer standards and expectations. So some of the questions that we've asked previously, repairs don't last, the quality isn't good enough. So some of the things we're doing in there, we are currently in the throes of consulting with our colleagues and looking at the structure of the service. So the things that we're doing there is we're looking to add various different resourcing. And when I use the term property inspectors, what we're looking at is bringing in a number of property inspectors into the service. What they will do is focus on what we call pre-inspections and post-inspections. So that would more focus on the quality of work delivered by our in-house repairs team, but also the quality of work delivered by our subcontractors. So that's the piece of work we're doing there. And alongside that, we are looking at a number of kind of repairs processes in terms of how we deliver that and how we improve things. But one of the key things about quality is just making sure we've got eyes on the ground, and we're looking at kind of the work that we're doing and how we're managing that to making sure, because one of our key commitments and our key focus is about delivery of right first time. Probably links in quite nicely. Jobs aren't completed first time. From understanding where the stabilisation programme is, it's clear that that has suffered in recent months. So some of the key things that we're doing around that, colleagues will and customers will be aware that we do have our in-house repairs team. So what we need to make sure is, in terms of completing that work, so they've got the right materials on the vehicle when they attend a customer's home. So a couple of things that's happening there. We have improved the materials that we're holding on the van. So we have looked historically at the works that's completed and the works that's required, and we have uplifted and improved, and we call that impress van stock. So they have what's called impress van stock to improve that. And the aim and the aspiration for us is 8 out of 10 jobs that we attend should be completed with the materials that are on the back of the van. So we have done some improvement work, and we are looking to kind of continue review that. And I suppose the other thing I will say in relation to that is we have a number of materials providers, and we are in a tender process for looking at a new materials provider, and we will continue to look at that in terms of making sure that we improve our kind of right first time fix to customers. We miss appointments and don't follow it up. Yes, another challenge that we face at the minute. Some of the work we've done is with our planning colleagues. So what sits behind the scenes when an operative attends a customer's home, we have a planning function that sits behind that, and what they do is move around and meet our resource to make sure that when we say to a customer we are going to attend on the morning of the 6th of June, make sure that happens and make sure we're efficient and effective. So what we've done as part of the stabilisation programme is we're looking at how we plan our repairs, making sure we're efficient and looking at the process. I think some of the key things that we're looking at is how we mitigate follow-on jobs. So when we talk about what a follow-on job is, that's where we cannot complete that job at first visit and we push it back into the system. Some of the work we're doing and what I spoke about earlier is, the improvements in materials on vehicles should start to reduce that and start to reduce the follow-on. So hopefully customers over a period of time during the stabilisation programme will see a change in that and see an improvement in right first time fix. Oh, thank you, Sam. It takes too long for updates on what's happening. So some of the things we are looking at there, we are looking at all our processes in terms of how everything fits together and how we kind of deliver that customer centric service. So some of the things we are looking at, and they're in the process of being progressed at the minute. We're reintroducing our text reminders, and we're also looking at the ways we are communicating with our customers. Now we do send reminders to our customers at the moment, but they're via email, and we found a better way of doing that is actually providing text reminders to customers, so they're more visible. So when the job has been raised, there'll be a communication, and there'll be different themes of communication in the lead up to say, our colleague will be attending your property tomorrow morning between this time and this time. Please make sure you're in. So we are looking at all different aspects of how we communicate with customers and improve that as well. Repairs in the app, don't match actual appointments. One of the key things we're doing, so we've got if we look at what the repairs journey look like, so a customer rings in, our CST colleagues look at that in terms of diagnostics, so that is kind of understanding what the repair is, and then we make sure we push it to the right operative and push it seamlessly through the service. So some of the things we are doing as part of the stabilisation, we're looking at how we diagnose repairs and in terms of improving that, and improvements in terms of planning, because the key thing we want to achieve from that is just making sure that repair runs through the system seamlessly and it has minimal touch points. And that's the process we're looking at in terms of how do we ensure that's effective. So there is work going on in that area about repairs diagnostics and efficient planning and moving that and keeping that live. Promises aren't kept. I think I'll probably go back to the thing I talked about. So we have what's called a repair stabilisation programme. A significant number of aspects of the service we are looking at, that goes to the efficiency of our service, making sure we've got the right resource, making sure we plan our resource effectively, and just making sure that we are linking in with customers and understanding that. So what that project is doing is that project is looking at all aspects of that service, because as I've said, as part of our change program, that is kind of a priority one at the moment. So we do have a real focus in terms of improving that service and driving improvements, and hopefully over a period of time, when we meet customers more often, they will start to feel and start to sense that the service is improving, because we are very aware where the challenges sit at the minute, and in terms of if a repair service isn't delivering what we want it to do, holistically it causes challenges across the organisation, so we're fully aware of that. And that's my piece completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. So hi, everybody. My name's Charlotte Johnson. I'm the Exec Director of Property at LHP. I joined in February, so still understanding lots of areas of the business. So just to give you a little bit of context, so we have over 11,800 properties at LHP, and we have direct full maintenance responsibility of these. We do have some shared ownership properties, and we do also have some leaseholder properties as well, but our full maintenance responsibility to those 11,800 properties. So our job is to keep your home safe, and we do this by ensuring that we've got a robust approach to building safety compliance, involving us undertaking regular risk assessments and site assessments to identify and resolve any issues. We also undertake what's known as a stock condition survey. We do this in a 5-year cycle, year investment plan, and that balances the age of those components, like things like your kitchens and your bathrooms and roofs and all different aspects of things that physically obviously will perish over a time, and also the customer data to ensure that we're prioritising our investment and keeping your home safe. So we aim to carry out a minimum of 2,368 stock condition surveys every year, and what we've done is we've been able to increase some capacity there. So we're actually trying over complete the stock condition surveys, because sometimes we do have problems with getting in and access. So what we ask as our customers is that if you got these, if you get the letter about the stock condition survey, please give us the access, because without that information we can't add it to our bigger longer term plans. We also have we renew our energy performance certificates every 10 years, and we carry out an average of about 1,100 of these a year. So we're moving to ensure that all of our homes are improved, having an improved energy performance level of what's known as an EPC or above, and that's by 2030. We've got a grant funding of over 5 million over the next 3 years to improve an additional 611 homes. So our energy efficiency works, this is our 4th year of energy efficiency works. So we're always trying to maximise where we're getting additional funding to help us get those real good energy efficiency measures for our homes. We invest an average of 16 million into our planned maintenance programme every year. So this is the kitchens, what you know is the kitchens and bathrooms programme. So we're making big investments into our assets as well. So we do usually notify people 4 weeks before that we start works, and we rarely give dates too far in advance because it's a programme nature and the programmes can change, and we don't want to give more disruption to our customers than we need to. But like I just said earlier, you can help us by making us aware of any of the issues at your home, and also allowing access for pre-arranged appointments and ensuring if that appointment needs to be changed by you, if you can give us notification and we can get that moved in as possible, well, in a timely way to be able to suit you as well. So we're trying where possible to make sure we're offering those appointments that suit your day-to-day moving. I'll come back to the questions that you said we did. So my estate and communal area looks untidy. We do have targets to monitor the cleaning providers of our estates and our communal areas, and we are in the process of awarding the next 3-year contract starting in April. So we've got so it's something that we relook at, we reassess it on value for money, and we do monitor them as well. So it is something that we are constantly working on and with. And if somebody hasn't performed for us in previous years, what we do is we would, look to alternative providers as well. Okay, just move it on. I'm confused about what LHP will do and won't do. So we are currently updating our repairs and maintenance policy. This is something that Jason's done an awful lot of work on at the moment as well. And it's going through our governance and approval process at the moment, and we will be getting that updated and onto our website as soon as possible with our updating one, so it's easier to be able to readable for everybody. So we are creating a customer influence and engagement strategy with Fortum to give customers greater opportunity to shape their works and that they deliver in their homes. So if anybody wants to be part of that, please send us your details and we will ensure that once we get that up and running, that we will be able to have an involved customer group on there as well. I think just previously, as I mentioned, so it's not clear when my home is due for work. So we do have a detailed 30-year plan, but what we don't do is share that individual level of detail with all of our customers. We've got it in the plan. We're happy to talk to people about where things do fall. And if you want to do that, please get in touch with our asset management team. We can do that. But it is just a guide because our programmes do change. We respond to things, we respond to emergencies. But what's probably helpful for you to know is we generally repair and change ahead of time. And that might only be by a year, but we are usually ahead of time. And this probably links very, very similar to the previous question. My neighbour's getting work, but why am I not? Planned maintenance is based on age and condition. So where it falls in our 30-year plan usually depends on where it fell in the 30-year plan when it was done. So over time, we wouldn't usually always be hitting a street at once, where we would love it to work in that way. So sometimes things don't always fall in sequence with your neighbours. But again, if you've got any concerns around that, if you can speak to our asset team and we can arrange someone to do a visit if that's needed. But in general, we will have your latest stock condition survey if you've given us access to do that. Thank you.
Thanks, both of you. So we've got a number of questions that were sent in advance, which we've got on the slides here. That helps with you seeing the questions and then with Charlotte and Jason answering them. And we've got a number of questions in the question and answer slot from customers that are actually on the call. So I think we'll start with the first one that we've got on the slides, and then we'll move to the ones in the chat. And we'll try and answer as many as possible. So who would like to give an answer to this one, Charlotte or Jason?
I'm comfortable taking this, and probably Danielle might come in as well. So why are decent tenants punished for trying to keep and maintain a decent home opposed to the percentage of tenants that have no interest in keeping the home tidy? I suppose I'm not probably how would I say in terms of where the detail. I think probably the key thing is what we've found, and it's probably a sector-wide challenge at the minute when when empty homes are returned to the organisation, we do find that some of the condition of those properties is relatively challenging in terms of possessions left, etc., etc. I think that's a sector-wide challenge that we do have at the minute, and thus our kind of empty homes budget increases as a part of that. I wouldn't say that our decent tenants are punished. I think we manage that on a case by case basis. Danielle, I don't know if there's anything you want to add in there in relation to kind of things around tenancy audits, etc.
Absolutely, I can do, Jason. Hello, everybody. I'm Danielle. I'm our strategic lead for place here at Lincolnshire Housing Partnership. And what that means is that I'm essentially responsible for our neighbourhoods team, our allocations team, and our antisocial behaviour team. So it's absolutely not our intention for those that take pride in their homes, as the vast majority of our customers do, for them to feel like they're being penalised. It may come across that those that don't respect theirs seem to get away with it, but we do have a robust programme of tenancy audits. So where we have concerns that people are not taking care of their home or their garden or whatever that may look like, a neighbourhood officer will be visiting that customer very, very regularly to try and help them improve the condition of their home and sustain their tenancy. And then absolute last resort, we can take tenancy enforcement action, because not taking good care of your home and garden is a breach of your tenancy conditions. But we always prefer to work with individuals and appreciate what their specific circumstances are as to why they might not be able to look after their home at that specific point in time. But we do have options available to us, and we do take that extremely seriously.
Thank you, Danielle. So I'm going to read out the first two questions that were asked this evening, because I think it's going to be a bit of a similar response or answer. So that might help us get through a number of questions in one go. So the first question is, my window has been measured twice and still no window fitted. It's been over 6 months. The second one is, my issue is I reported a kitchen cabinet door falling out and the man took pictures of it and nothing happens until today. He told me it's not under his control anymore, where he could make an appointment. I still have the problem, and multiple times I called back to LHP and was told that the repairs had been done when they hadn't been. Looks like when the technician comes, LHP marks it as done. I reported another one today and wanted to know what's going on with this situation, and would like us to improve the way the first visit is done, because the technician takes pictures and still nothing happens. So I think that probably comes to you, Jason, and I'm wondering if John wants to join us to talk a bit about our call centre, but I'll come to you first, Jason.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And as I probably mentioned earlier, we do acknowledge that the repair service does have some challenges at the moment. So, you know, a real critical thing for us is achieving what we term as first time fix. So kind of attending that property and making sure that we complete that repair during the first visit, because that's the most efficient and smartest way for us to do it, but it's also the best experience for the customer. I think in terms of the specific cases that are raised, we just need to take them away and understand that. But yes, there are some improvements in the service. So I would anticipate some customers are feeling that they're not getting a great service in terms of repairs. And part of the programme that we're doing is actually, how do we change that? How do we look at it differently? As part of a lot of work we're doing, as I said, we are working closely with our planning colleagues. We are looking at how do we drive a better efficiency across the service, and we are more broader looking at the structure of our service and looking to propose and adding additional posts into that service to make sure we've got the headroom to continue innovate and improve that service going forward. So yeah, absolutely. You know, I will always be very honest in acknowledging that there are some challenges with the service, but some of the work we're doing is looking at those improvements and how to kind of drive those improvements throughout what we're doing, because we are very conscious that, you know, the repair service does impact on, you know, a huge amount of customers on a weekly, monthly, annual basis, and we want to make sure that we are, you know, we are delivering that real customer focused service and it's achieving what we need it to do.
Thank you. John, did you want to say anything about the call service in terms of how, the customer call centre and how questions are answered when people call.
Yeah, thank you. Can you put me on the screen?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. My name's John O'Hanrahan, and I'm Corporate Head of Customers. So thank you very much. And thanks, Nick, for giving me the opportunity. Absolutely, that's disappointing if some of the data in our systems doesn't really reflect the experience that you're having. That is certainly something myself and Jason from the very, very start to the very, very end of that repairs journey will be looking at. What I will say, in terms of that diagnostic function, we are currently working with one of our technology partners to look at remote video diagnostics. So that will give us the opportunity to dial into your phone and through your camera, absolutely get that real lived experience of that repair. That will allow us to cut down on first visits where we take photos. It will allow us to make sure that we give the best opportunity of fixing that first time right. So although I absolutely agree we don't get it right all the time, we are working really hard across the business to ensure that we use technology and our knowledge and support our customers to get those first fixes done and complete.
Thank you very much, John. So next question is the one that came up on screen. So it's quite long. I'm assuming, Charlotte, you're the best person to answer this one.
Yeah, we do have a strategic initiative. This is the one I was talking to you about the energy efficiency works as well. Whilst we will never be able to meet the standards of a new build today because they were just built in completely different times with different measures, with different regulation, what we are trying to do, and this is to meet also government's regulation and response to the wider housing sector, is that we are aiming to get each of our properties to the maximisation of that property's capacity. So where we've got a target for EPCC in the sector, in the housing sector, as landlords, to be able to get all properties to that by 2030. So whilst we'll never be able to do all the things of a new build, we'll be able to increase its energy efficiency. Some properties we cannot treat with things like cavity wall insulation. It depends on their year of build. We do have a high proportion of homes that are really early 1900s, so we are trying where possible to be able to do everything we can for that home. There will be a number of homes that we would never be able to get to EPCC, and they're the homes that we'll have to look for alternative measures in the future.
Thank you, Charlotte. Rather than going for another one that came in for in advance, I'll read out another one from the chat, and I think this will probably be Danielle needing to come back on, and everything's moving about. Just bear with me. So the question that's been raised is, I have been assessed by the occupational therapy team as I need ground floor accommodation as per Home Choice Links in a 2-bed property. I'm continually being told I'm only allowed 1-bed properties. My mobility scooter is not allowed under the stairs where I live. Can someone look into this, please? So absolutely, we'll look into your personal circumstances if you provide us with some more information. And that goes for all of the other questions where it's you want us to specifically check where we are with either a repair or something. But Danielle, I wonder if there's anything that you can share more generally about Home Choice Links and occupational therapy.
Yeah, of course I can. I'm not sure if I moved on to the screen, but I'm sure you can all hear me. So thanks for sending that through. You're right. There I am. You're right. If you've been assessed in that you need a 2-bed property as opposed to a 1-bed property because of medical needs or mental health requirements or any other reason, Home Choice Links should be updated to reflect that. So what we can do, if you provide us with your details, is that we can get a member of the team to advocate on your behalf with our partners at Home Choice Links to ensure that you've got access to bid on the properties that are suitable for your needs. I think it might just be worth mentioning as well, Nicola, where people can send over their personal details, because there's been a couple of comments in the chat about where to send their personal details over to.
Okay, great. I'll ask Sam if you wouldn't mind putting details in the chat of an email address or phone number that people could use, please. So thank you, Danielle. Another question that was sent in advance is on screen by Paul. Charlotte, Jason, which if you would like to take this one.
I think that's probably me again, isn't it? I think, yeah, absolutely refers back to some of the other comments that I made earlier about the repair service and acknowledging that, you know, I would assume customers have raised certain repairs and for whatever reason we haven't enacted them or dealt with them. What I would ask is if we can have the customer details and we'll follow that through and understand where that is in the system. You know, we have had some challenges in terms of kind of looking at jobs and not completing jobs in a timely manner, so we can look at the history on the property and understand why that is. But yeah, we can follow that one up.
Yeah, and just to add to that, this question and all the questions where we haven't done something in a timely manner, I just want to apologise on behalf of LHP. There's probably a lot of different reasons for different circumstances, but if it has got lost in our system or we've misrecorded it, then apologies from us. So the next question that was put in the question and answer from today is going to come to you, Charlotte. Is it true Fortum have already exceeded the void budget?
I'm not sure how this information would be in the public domain. So Fortum are our planned maintenance contractor. What we are looking at the moment is we have got a number of void properties that we are looking to external contractors to support on. But I can assure you that programme of works hasn't started yet. So whether they've exceeded the budget, I'm not sure that that's possible to the point that we've not started already on those works. And I'm just wondering if Jason, if you've got anything else to add on that one as well.
No, I'm not. I'm the same as you, Charlotte. I'm not really sure where the comments come from. We have outsourced a number of empty homes in terms of part of kind of some of the recovery works that we're doing. Those works haven't started yet. They're due to start in the next couple of weeks, but they have committed under a contract managed by our asset team that they will complete 60 empty homes before the end of the financial year. But in effect, they haven't spent anything yet because they haven't started. So I'm not sure where the comment is in relation to have they exceeded budget.
Yeah, absolutely. So this next question on screen from Kelly about window replacements, I think it's very similar to other ones. So rather than answer this, unless you wanted to add anything, Charlotte, about window replacements, I think it's the same answer as before. Give us your contact details and we will check and come back to you. So another question on a different topic. Okay, I'll go for the one by Paul on screen. Why is LHP no longer maintaining our communal gardens other than cutting the grass? Charlotte?
I'll come and answer that one if that's okay. Yeah. So we at LHP that we only have the grass cutting, hedge maintenance, access area, keeping access area free as well. We don't actually have a landscaping offer at LHP. And because this is something that is a service chargeable item as well. You may have seen in some of our communications that have gone out that there have been some projects done in line with some customers of areas that have got communal gardens. So I think this is something that if you were interested in doing in your areas or being part of or with other people who live obviously adjacent to you, you've got access to those communal areas. I think if you could speak to your neighbourhood officers in the first instance and then speak to John's team, Danielle's team, and we can look at maybe there's a project that we can run there. But yeah, it's because it's a service chargeable item. It's not something that we've done in terms of the gardening other than keeping the gardens cut and maintained and all that, the access work and the trees and anything else that would then be like a health and safety risk as well.
Thank you, Charlotte. So
Danielle, did you add any more to that? Sorry.
No, I don't think so, Charlotte. I think you've covered it, other than to say that the neighbourhood officers are always very happy to hear any feedback about the types of services that we provide. And we're also always very happy to get involved with customers to improve neighbourhood spaces together.
Thank you, Danielle. Absolutely, get in touch with us. I was going to say, Danielle, did you want to stay on because you might be answering the next one? I think it's either you or John, but it may well be Jason. So the next question that's in the question and answer is, I have a problem with rats from next door who is also LHP. So absolutely, we need you to give us your details so that we can look at it. But who would like to give an answer about rats?
Yeah, I can come in on that one. That helps. Thank you. So we'll take your details, absolutely, and we have a strong process around that. So what I would normally ask, if you haven't, or anybody else who hasn't, report that as soon as possible to us. We have a robust process where we will alert our pest control team, our repairs team, and our neighbourhoods team, and we will work together in conjunction to make sure that we deal with that for you. And if that's external issues that are attracting rats in and around gardens and on our land, we will address that as well as view how they are getting ingress into properties. So please leave your personal details. We will come back to you on that one, but I would definitely recommend any customers who are concerned about infestations, you contact us immediately, and our process will kick in then. Thanks.
Thank you, John. So I think this question that's on screen is very similar to one that's in the chat. So and it might be different parts of land, but Charlotte, hopefully you'll be able to link the two together. So the question in the question and answer is, what plan is in place for the vacant land in Immingham where the old flats were torn down? Can this be used for more and better social housing? I think it's
I can answer both of them. So yeah, so we currently we have got a very, very small development programme at LHP. So we currently acquire 60 properties a year to add to our new build programme. What we want to be able to do is to create a growth strategy for LHP, but that's going to take the time now. We've got the information, we've got some assets, we've got some of our own assets, and what we want to be able to look is using those to the best, for the best purpose. It may be that we may be able to build on there, but it might not be. It's all just trying to understand what development looks for at LHP, but we also are aware that this land is obviously there's some really good pieces of land, so it's something that we are progressing, but that's not going to be imminently. It takes the time to be able to go through everything that we do hold and what is the best for the future for it. So what you will see though is if we are ever looking at doing a planning application or anything in LHP's name for any of these sites, it'll be the communication will go out to the immediate environment, and everybody will have their chance to come and talk to us about those designs. But it's not something that we've currently got in our pipeline, but it's something that we are looking towards, working towards, and having a growth plan. And what we want to see is that we will be in a position in the future to acquire more than 60 homes a year.
Thank you, Charlotte. I'm going to read out another one, another question that's in the question and answer. Why have LHP outsourced the provision of accommodation to Home Choice Links? Your neighbourhood officers know full well who deserves better accommodation. Why are they not making these decisions? Danielle, did you want to?
Yeah, of course, I'm happy to answer that one, Nicola. So I agree, our neighbourhood officers are usually very well versed on what our customers need. They spend a lot of time with our customers and getting to know them and what their needs and wants are, etc., etc. However, it's not that we've outsourced to Home Choice Links. Home Choice Links is actually a joint system that's used by all local councils or housing associations in the local area, including us. And it's actually a part of our legal requirements for how social housing is allocated fairly and transparently. So what that system does is that it assures that everyone is assessed in the same way based on what their needs are, what their priority is, how long that they have been waiting, so that decisions aren't made based on personal preference or perception or any of that. So it's actually there for a purpose, in that it protects our customers and it protects us as a landlord from any accusations about favouritism or unfairness or anything like that. But you're absolutely right, our neighbourhood officers do know what the reality is like for our customers, and they can and they do influence decisions. So if you need your neighbourhood officer to advocate on your behalf for you in relation to anything particular, something that's particularly complicated or nuanced, then please do get in touch with your neighbourhood officer, because we're always happy to assist with those sorts of bits.
Thank you, Danielle. So next question on screen from Barry, and I want to apologise, Barry, because in reading this question you have obviously asked for it before, which we did follow up with, but it sounds as if we didn't then do anything on the back of that, so apologies for that. We will make sure that we pick this up and come back to you, but Charlotte or Jason, do you want to make any comment about trees and cracks, damage to gardens and paths?
Can I come in on this one, Nicola? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry again. Quite happy for Jason or Charlotte to expand on what I've got to say, but I just wanted to apologise to this particular customer. It was brought to my attention this morning that he hadn't received contacts back from the last time, and I believe that my team have been in touch with you today and organised for your neighbourhood officer to come out and see you, and also somebody from Charlotte's team who is responsible for the grounds maintenance service, so he can offer some technical advice on the tree that's causing you some issues. So again, profuse apologies for that oversight, and somebody will be out to see how they can assist with you, and also if with your neighbour if they're struggling with this tree as well. Thank you, Nicola.
Thank you, Danielle. So that's the end of the questions in advance, and I'm going to continue to go through the questions in the Q&A. Sorry, I was just trying to work out where we were. So the next question is there any plans to increase the energy efficiency of the existing flats in Immingham as per what has been done to the Ings Lane estate? I think that's you, Charlotte.
Again, Nick, if we can have just the details and address, because I'm not sure where they are on the schedule. I don't have it to my knowledge at the moment here. So if you let us know your information, and we can get somebody to contact you.
Is there anything that you wanted to spend on? I know you covered it earlier, but about the external.
If it meets the requirement, it would be probably on the programme, but if it didn't meet the requirement, we'd need to understand what's in there at the moment. So it's, yeah, without seeing it or having the address, it's probably not an easy one just to answer just as we stand at the moment, but we can get that information out to the customer.
Okay, thank you. MHCLG are asking for ideas on community projects to spend money they have to give away. Maybe some funds can be obtained to start up landscaping. I think Danielle probably would like to join us to answer that question.
I definitely would like to answer that question, although maybe this is answering a question with a question, because I'm not sure who MHCLG are. So whoever's put that in the chat, if you can reach out, because I'd love to hear about any community projects or community groups that have got funds for landscaping or anything else. So if you ever hear of any of those, shout at your neighbourhood officer to send them my way.
Absolutely, and some local charities and businesses do quite often help us fund garden projects, and a number of our colleagues volunteer to go out and help plant plants and dig up weeds and that kind of thing. So yeah, we are looking for opportunities to do more in this space. So another question about Immingham. I think this is probably related to the last one. In reference to Immingham land, can some be sold to raise funds to allow for LHP to renew the rest?
I think that what we don't have at the moment is a real strategic overview of all our land in LHP. So what we wouldn't want to do is to sell something that we may want to build on in the future. And that's why it becomes a really difficult balancing act at times, because whilst we might not want to do something in the next 5 years, it's not to say that we might, you know, that LHP won't need to be able to use that asset for longer term. So whilst that is a sensible answer to ask and a sensible representation of what could happen, whilst we have land, we want to be able to use our land to maximise it, but that might not be imminently, because when and I'm happy, whoever's raised this, I'm really happy to meet with separately and have a separate conversation, because once we start to get into the lines of developments really can sometimes be really difficult for housing associations, particularly where the values of the land aren't very high and the build costs are really high. So because of doing it, it sometimes feels a little bit counterintuitive. So we've got to be able to maximise the right option at the right time. But you know, honestly, I'm happy to have a one-on-one conversation with anybody about the way that development works in a housing association, because it's got quite a lot of complexities to it. But I think if we are able to assess our assets over the next couple of years, what it helps us do is as a really strong programme in the future. So that would be good for, you know, for us, for our long lasting legacy.
Thank you, Charlotte. So I can't see any other questions on there. I don't know whether there's others on the chat. So can I just ask Claire or Sam, are there any other questions likely to be coming through? Or Lucy?
I think we have pretty much covered them all. I'm just scrolling through the ones that we got in the chat. I think we've covered everything.
Great, thanks, Sam. So just wanted to say thank you very much for joining us. Obviously, if you've been able to give us your details, we will come back to you within the next week or so and make sure that we pick up all of your queries and give you answers that are direct to your personal situation. Hopefully this has been insightful and you've enjoyed joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again either at future virtual meetings or face-to-face ones. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Everyone who registered and has attended, we've got your emails. So if you've asked for us to reach out, or if there's a question that still needs to be answered, we will get back to you. We will get the relevant team to reach out within the next couple of days, and we'll get those responses to you all. Thank you all for coming.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.